connect from home.
Hi.
Hello.
Labas.
Good morning. Morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, all from Estonia. Hello.
Good morning.
Should be a few people from Spain embassy connecting.
Yes, we expect them to be.
But okay, we will start in a couple of minutes.
Perfect.
Okay.
Good morning, everybody. Let's start little by little. This nice sunny morning, inviting us to the meeting. And the idea of this morning was a green technologies. So, okay, the weather is cold, the heating is on. Then it's again another point to discuss about the green technology. And this topic and this idea was to look at the green technologies possibilities practically. We would not like to just to think that is somewhere, is some theoretical. The green technologies are already in our life, and that will be the topic of today. So let me welcome everybody to our meeting. And like always in European Business Network, all events are hosted by the embassies. And in this term, the Romanian Embassy is hosting the event of green technology. And that's why I have a pleasure to invite Ambassador of Romania, Cosmin Dinescu, to open our meeting. Please.
Good morning everybody. I welcome you to this meeting that we organized during our chairmanship of the council. In fact, it is the third one. We took over the chairmanship on the 1st of November last year. And I'm sure that the meeting today would be at least as interesting as the last two ones that we organized. In fact, it cannot be other than interesting, since the subject is a very actual and relevant subject for all of us. And also, or I would say particularly for Lithuania, since green economy is one of the objectives and the priorities set up by the government. I'm sure that the discussions will be very, very interesting, since we have also representative from the, let's say, one of the leading companies in this field. Well, that's it for the moment. I wish you all have a very nice time in the next minutes, next hour maybe. Thank you very much, and Gintas, back to you.
Thank you, Ambassador. Let's move now to the topic and presentations. And I would like to introduce Mr. Remigijus Lapinskas. You have read in our invitation mail about his credentials, but I would like to introduce Mr. Remigijus differently, because I know him as a face of green movement for many years, for decades. And he has been active in different positions, as you can see. But the idea of Remigijus holds and continues through many years how to make our life more sustainable. And he has been working with the biomass, with energy issues, and currently he is leading the Green Policy Institute. But most interesting would be to hear ideas. So I invite Remigijus Lapinskas to present the more perspective and the general view how green technologies are coming to our life, and what are perspectives, what are benefits for us being green. Mr. Remigijus, floor is yours.
Good morning to you, the ambassadors, the participating audience at this webinar. You gave me 20 minutes to explain the major problem of this civilization and the major threat to the world. And moreover, you gave me the same 20 minutes also to offer you a solution, how we can withstand that. So this is not an easy task at all, and therefore I would like not to waste the time and to move directly to the presentation. So now I will share my presentation, my screen, and then we'll see. So where is this? It is here. Okay. Okay, so turn towards green economy, the need, challenges and opportunities. I will try to go quickly through the main points, and I hope that will be enough time later on to discuss. So first of all, why we need to talk about the turn to the greener economy or more sustainable solutions. So there are main 3 points. First of all, this is a global climate change. I will not explain so much about this itself, but I will talk about some aspects of that. Then, of course, the growing shortage of resources, including soil and water. That means that we are consuming our planet and we are consuming very fast. This is another major problem. And the third is that the growing pollution of environment, including the global ocean. That means that we cannot, we don't know exactly how to deal with the packages, with the all these remainings after our consumption. So therefore, those 3 main challenges which we have for our civilization and our society, and all of them should be solved, because any of them can ruin, can destroy our life and our way of life. So climate change, this is a major threat, of course, because it can do our planet not good for living, not only for people, but for the majority of biodiversity. And I would like to point out that the discussion about the climate change, this is not a discussion about to believe or not. This is a discussion about the physical evidence from the science. And one of this is the CO2 concentration level in our atmosphere. And you see, I wrote in red, Mauna Loa station, which is in Hawaii, they measured the record high level of CO2 concentration, 415 ppm. And I need to say that this is absolutely not normal, because a long period of Earth, we had CO2 concentration between 280 and 320 ppm. So this is really, how to say, not normal record. And we had the same concentration like a few million years ago. But we need to understand that at that time, the Earth, the planet Earth, was totally different. The biodiversity was totally different, and we had no people there. So that's the physical evidence. And due to the climate change, Antarctica is melting faster than it was before. I need to say that since 50s, Antarctica has lost more than 33,000 square kilometers of ice. This is more than half of Lithuania. And having in mind that the average thickness of ice in Antarctica is more than 2 kilometers, to be exact, it's 2,199 meters. This is average thickness of ice. You can imagine how big quantity, how large quantity of ice just fell into the global ocean. And of course, that was a reason why the global ocean, the level of global ocean rises. And this is again is a major threat. And if every 10 years, like it is now, the amount of melting ice triples, so after 50 years, most of the coastal cities will be flooded. Actually, you know that the United Nations, they are dealing with so-called Intergovernmental Panel of Climate Change. This is a large or the biggest gathering of most professional scientists in this field. So they predict that until 2100, the level of global ocean will rise a minimum 1 meter. Minimum 1 meter. So for Lithuania, that means that we will have to protect our dunes, we'll have to protect our port city Klaipėda, we'll have to protect some of our coastal cities, because we do not have this, let's say, 1 meter of space, let's say, and this means that our children and our grandchildren, they will have to fight with the sea, even here in Lithuania. I do not want to talk about the countries like, let's say Thailand Egypt in Alexandria region. Again, United Nations say, and the World Bank also predicts that in 2050s, some like 150 million people will start traveling, looking for the soil and water for them, for their living conditions, because they just simply will have to leave their homes because of the rising ocean. And climate change, it also means weather extremes, and weather extremes. This is not, let's say, how to say the nature fact. This is also economics, because it brings losses, huge losses. And for example, Hurricane Maria in 2017, it destroyed almost all buildings in Puerto Rico, in the island. 95% of buildings, they've been destroyed. And it brought more than $90 billion losses, just one hurricane alone. The next example is the Hurricane Harvey, the same year. And it hit Texas, and we have here 125 billion of losses, and more than 200,000 homes damaged, and tens of thousands of people, they had to leave their homes just because of the angry nature, let's say. So climate change means weather extremes. It's droughts, it's heat waves, it's floods, and all of them, they bring losses, and they bring less harvest, let's say. They bring millions of people will have to travel, and so on and so on. So this is a threat. And weather extremes, since the real start of using fossil fuel in huge quantities, I would say from 50s, 60s, it become, let's say, more and more recent. So you see that in this graph we have floods, storms, and droughts, and all these lines, they go up, and this is a threat again. And the last decade is the warmest decade ever recorded. And what is also very interesting and important, despite the minus 18 today in my yard in this morning, but the last 6 years was the warmest 6 on record. I mean, every year was more warm than it was before, and it is already the temperature rise to more than 1 degree Celsius above pre-industrial level. That means that the Paris Climate Agreement, which we had in 2015, and which requires countries to take measures that the temperature will not rise more than 2 degrees Celsius, or better, 1.5 degrees Celsius. That means that we are already here. I mean, this is actually no doubt that this 2 degrees Celsius temperature rise definitely will come until 2100. And this is, believe me, this is a real problem. And when we talk about the next, my statement about the consumption or overconsumption and the use of resources, so it's good when we have a look at overconsumption or Earth Overshoot Day, and we see that this Overshoot Day comes early every year, and now we have 1st of August as a day when we stop consuming the resources which were devoted to this particular year, and we start using resources of the future. So that means that we use resources again of our children and grandchildren, and this should be changed completely in the way of more green economy. We are consuming our future, and there are different organizations, very, let's say, with the great authority, like a World Wildlife Fund, which says that for more than 40 years, humanity demand on nature has exceeded what our planet can replenish. Or Global Footprint Network, we say that we need 1.7 planet Earth to support human civilization. And Food and Agriculture Organization says that 23 hectares of land are lost per minute to desertification because we lose the soil. We lose the soil. And, it's also calculated the Lithuanian situation. It's told that today in Lithuania, we live, how to say, very free. I mean, we need actually, if every citizen in the world would live the same way like Lithuanians, we would need not 1.7 Earth, but 3.5 planet Earth. That means that our living standard is very high on the one hand, but on the other hand, we over-consuming our resources and our planet. And what is also very important that we are wasting. We're just not consuming, but we're also wasting. More than 1 billion tons of food lost or wasted every year. Can you imagine? And only in Europe, we lose more than 100 kilograms of food every year per capita. So that means that more than 50 million tons of food wasted in our civilized Europe. So this is, again, an unacceptable situation. We need to find out how to use food in a more, let's say, organized and more saving manner. So opportunity, or let's say the possibility for to solve these problems is this is a green economy, and as United Nations says, green economy is an economy that results in improved human well-being and social equity while significantly reducing environmental risks and ecological scarcities. So let's say we need to solve those problems having the same resources, just being much smarter with new technologies and a new way of thinking. That's the way. And the principles of green economy are shown here. So first of all, say equal rights to receive education and achieve resources, compliance with sustainable development principles. What is very important, preventive approach to social and environmental effects, sustainable and effective use of resources, and compatibility with existing macroeconomic purposes by creating green jobs, reducing poverty, increasing competitiveness. So green economy means that we need to keep the same living standard, the same living standard of civilization, but not wasting our resources and being much smarter. And countries, they have mainly two tools, two sets of tools to create green economy. First of all, economic instruments, so that means taxes, subsidies, trading schemes, very important, but also non-economic means. We need to explain our people the mean of green economy and of the future, how they need to behave in the future. So provision of information, education, promotion of voluntary approach, this is also very, very important. And the benefits of green business development, it's clear. So this is, again, growth and financial independence of the middle class, because in the green future, we estimate a lot of, let's say, private entrepreneurship and private initiative, growth of investments and market competitiveness, new jobs, and so on and so on and so on. So we can tackle unemployment and climate change by creating a green economy and providing green jobs at the same time. So we need investments. And normally we say that we need investments mainly in 3 fields, because all of them, they devoted to fight climate change, overconsumption of resources, and so on. So first of all, we need investments to avoid use of fossil fuels, to create the renewable energy, investments to increase efficiency of exploitation of natural resources, again, installation of houses, better technologies, less resources used per capita, and so on and so on. And of course, investments to strengthen ecosystems and fix the historical damages of nature, because we already did bad to our nature in the past decades. So we need a lot to fix. And where the green economy could be applicable, I mean, where we can find new companies, new startups, and so on and so on. So of course, renewable energy, waste management, better waste management, water care, innovations, construction, manufacture of new building materials, low carbon transport and logistics, high technologies, also small crafts, ecological farming, healthy food production, new trade models, saving time and fossil fuel for transportation, rural tourism, ecotourism, services, sharing economy, and so on and so on and so on. And believe me, if I have more time, I would be able to provide you examples. We do have many examples in Lithuania as well. But I will explain in the end one of them. So we see fossil-free Lithuania and the world as well, not less than in 2050, like Paris Agreement says. But on the other hand, I say that in Lithuania, at least in the energy side, I mean, for production of electricity and heat, we can choose, we can achieve that in 2040. We do have some, let's say, technological problem, not only in Lithuania, but in the world with transportation. But with others, we do quite well in Lithuania. Actually, I need to say that very often politicians make a mistake, because when they talk about energy, so they mostly they mean electricity. But I need to point out that electricity is just 17% of energy of the world. 51% it is heating and cooling, and 32% is transportation. So in heating and cooling, we already have in the world some like 10% renewables. In transportation, and this is a problem, we have only 4% renewables in a form of electricity and biofuels. And in electricity, out of this 17% overall energy, 27% is renewable. So from my point of view, and now I say these words like a former president of World Bioenergy Association, I want to point that from my point of view, we have all the technologies for production and achieving sustainable, renewable electricity and heat. But we still have to do a lot for sustainable transportation. This still remains a problem. I mean that personal cars, small cars, those could be driven on electricity quite well, but it's still a question mark with the long distance transportation, and especially when we talk about the maritime transport and aviation, and then let's say construction machinery, agriculture machinery. So those we hardly can imagine working on electricity so far. So therefore, we need to look for technological breakthrough. And the green tax shift could be also used to fasten the process. Green tax shift means mainly that we introduce CO2 fee for CO2 emissions, but at the same time we minimize taxes for labor costs. In that case, business and countries remain competitive, because the level of taxation remains on the same level or even become lower. But this could help countries, let's say, to make this green shift quicker. And as example, I would like to tell you about the country which I visited and checked out regarding this matter. So a green recovery package of South Korea. So they had some like more than 10 years ago, they had an idea to change their life and creating a package of incentives. So first of all, for nature protection, including fossil-free energy, clean vehicles, and recycling, improvement of living quality, which is very important in European cities, I would say, including green neighborhood and housing improvements, and infrastructures, of course, including the green transport organizations. And they had a target to create nearly 1 million new jobs in the green economy. And I'm really happy when I visited Seoul in the end of 2018. That was a huge conference there. And as an example, I was shown the small river in the center of Seoul. And this river is crossing the marketplace. And before, that was a huge marketplace. And I would use perhaps not very nice, but word cloaca. That was a huge cloaca. And after those incentives, they decided that they need to make this river clean, and they did. And now nice fishes living there, and new pedestrian and cycling roads around that river, and people walking and running and having, let's say, practices there. So I want to say that everything is possible, even in this huge town of more than 20 million people with suburbans. You can fix the ecological situation right in the center of that huge town. So therefore, I say that everything is possible. Let me show you example of Lithuania with used tires. Officially, it's said that we import around 30,000 tons of tires annually to Lithuania, but our calculations show that we have much more, some like 40,000 tons. So that means that some like 10,000 tons of tires we just, how to say, waste and forget. And this is not acceptable, because later on these tires we find in our forests and some green places all around Lithuania. And just few plants we have to prepare for recycling, for producing granules, so just for melting tires, but no production of goods and material needed out of recycled tires. So what is this? A challenge and opportunity. And looking to the good examples in different countries, I say that we could have, out of these used tires, we could have nice additives to road construction. We could have sport grounds and football grounds, pedestrian cycling road surfacing of horse grounds, sound insulation materials and ballistic mats, separate anti-friction and anti-vibration details for different needs, and so on and so on. I mean, from my point of view, this is a huge opportunity, but not a challenge. And this is strange why still, let's say, Ministry of Environment of Lithuania is not taking a lead to solve that question. So we criticize them, and I believe that in the nearest future changes will come. And I promised you the success story, and then so this is a success story of biomass energy in Lithuania. I need to say that to inform you that more than 70% of district heating we produce from local and some part of also imported biomass, but biomass. And we switched from gas, from imported fossil material, which was up to 3 times more expensive. You see the graph. The green column is the price of biomass, blue column is the price for gas per energy unit. So that was an unacceptable situation. I mean, we've been paying hundreds of million euro, dollar every year to foreign countries, and having here not in use our local material. So we switched. In last 17 years, we made this major switch, and now 70% of central district heating in cities we produce out of biomass, and we save 70% of CO2 emissions, because as you know, biomass, sustainably grown biomass, it is a CO2 neutral resource, and this is one of the renewable energy sources. And what is also very important, with the investment just of 300 million euros, we took 100 million from the European Union structural funds and 200 million euros of Lithuanian money. So now we have a situation, after the 300 million euros investment, we save up to 200 million euros every year. This is a difference between biomass and the gas. And this is not a macroeconomic calculation, it's just the fact of difference of the price of energy source. So therefore, I say that this switch from gas to biomass is the best ever Lithuanian public project. And moreover, we created an entire industry with more than 400 million yearly income, with some like 100 million export. Lithuania exports the bioenergy units, biomass boiler houses, and then cogeneration plants. We created more than 7,000 job places with average 20% higher than medium salary. So therefore, this is a good example to say that we can do changes, we can change, we can switch. I believe in that, and more than 15 years I'm engaged in that situation and explaining that, not only explaining but also investing by myself, showing the example, and I believe that this green future for Lithuania, for Europe, and for the world really exists. So thank you very much, and we'll be glad to answering your questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Remigijus. I was listening with big care, and I don't want to interrupt you because you have been telling so passionate. So you are so involved and engaged in this green trend. Thank you for that. Thank you for doing the job. And now we would like to turn to practical example, how the green technology opportunities are used in Lithuania. And to introduce the second speaker, I would like to ask Ambassador Konstantinescu, because the Romanian economy also has an input in it. Please.
Thank you very much. Before introducing the second speaker, I would like to thank the first speaker. It was really a very interesting, very informative, as Edu said, very passionate presentation. And I'm sure that in the next segment of the meeting, when we have questions and answers, we will find out more from your perspective. So thank you very much for this. And now, as you said, we go to the second speaker, Vladas Venskutonis, who is the CEO of the GreenTech Baltic. Vladas has 10 years experience in management positions and a very solid experience in this field of waste management. And GreenTech Baltic is a part of a Green Group, which is a leading conglomerate, or I would say company, which is based in Romania, leading one in this field. GreenTech Baltic is the largest PET plastic recycler in Europe and producer of flakes, PET shops, and RP PET granules. And I would say that the presentation is even more interesting, or I expect the presentation to be even more interesting, since now they plan one of the biggest investments in the Baltic region in this circular economy. Vladas was CEO and has been CEO for this company starting in 2016, which means that in the last 5 years he was deeply involved in this, in all aspects regarding green economy, circular economy, recycling of goods, everything which is needed to avoid using the future of our kids, as the previous speaker said. So with no further ado, I would invite Vladas to take over. I know that there are some issues regarding the camera, so I think that we will hear him and we see the presentation. Thank you very much, and Vladas, please.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Vladas Venskutonis, CEO of GreenTech Baltic company. So I'm going to share the presentation. And we'll proceed with the. Do you see it?
Yes. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. Everything is visible. Thank you.
Thank you. So, as the ambassador said, Green Group is one of the largest PET recyclers in Europe, based in Romania. Was established by Taiwanese citizen, and who immigrated to Romania, and he created in several years quite a big company. The uniqueness of the Green Group is that Green Group doesn't only recycle plastics, it uses it puts in the circular economy concept and uses those flakes or raw materials, let's call it, to a final production, for final products. Main products are fiber, and Green Group is one of the biggest recyclers in Europe who produces microfibers from recycled content. This is very important. They're a bigger company in Europe who produces microfibers, but they use virgin material produced from crude oil. Yeah, and Green Group is only uses recycling. It's completely green company, completely recycling company. Operating in Romania, several plants, Hungary, Lithuania, Slovakia, Czech Republic, 10 production facilities. Here a vision. The first, of course, value is the circular economy concept. We are chasing it from the very beginning, and now I'm more and more successful in that. This is our chairman. And the companies, Green Fiber, which produces fiber. Later I will show you where the fibers, what is that, and where they are being used, in which industries. GreenTech, Romania, Slovakia, Lithuania. So these companies only recycling. They are accepting PET bottles, PET waste, and transforming it into the valuable raw material from which other final products are being produced. Then we have Green We, means electronic recycling, lamps recycling, green resources. This related to GreenTech is one of the few companies in the world who was accredited by and certified by Golden Standard, and I'm talking about the recycling companies, and we have possibility to issue the certificates, kind of CO2 pollution certificates, which we can let's say distribute or sell to the market, and this is also very unique in the recycling world. I don't know why it doesn't work. Okay. So again, circular economy, solutions for sustainable business, and food traceability. The main shareholder is Polish fund Abris, which is listed also in some stock exchange, and we are very, let's say, transparent. So this is what I've talked about gold standard. Each pollution company has to reduce emission by 66% to become sustainable GHG tax. And Green Fiber achieves a 75% CO2. It was very difficult to get the certificate. It took many years of audits and so on. And we achieved it. And this is the first even company certified by Gold Standard. And it's shown here that 1 ton of PET virgin granules used for fiber production emits up to 4 times more emissions than 1 ton of fiber made of recycled PET bottle waste. Okay, here are the map where we are active. And we are going to the plastic division, which is the biggest and the most important. Here we have, of course, the main target is PET bottles recycling. 3 countries. It became in 2002, as I said. Unfortunately, the person who established company passed away 3 years ago, but the company is still active and is growing. The recycling capacity are about 150,000 tons a year. We produce rPET, which is going again to the bottles, so it's bottle-to-bottle recycling. Then PET strap, which is going to the packaging of wood, construction products, and polyester stable fibers. Polyester stable fibers are used in very many areas like medicine, automotive, textile, clothes like Nike, Adidas. They use all those fibers. here we have main products, RPET, PET strap, and flakes, which are going to PET fiber production. This is PET strap. Main application: wood industry, construction, paper, and corrugated, everywhere where it's needed. And this strap substitutes the metal strap, stainless strap, steel strap, and it's more light and more strong. RPET granules are very, let's say, now popular, and most of our bottles, which we have in drinks industry, especially soft drink industry, we already have a lot of recycled content. Some of the bottles are 100% recycled and uses 100% recycled content. Here we have certificates, and here we have GreenTech Baltic. GreenTech Baltic was an idea started from 2016, when in Lithuania we have implemented a deposit system, and it became possible for the further investments, and Romanian company GreenTech, which are very active, they learned this possibility and came with a 8 million euro initial investment, which we did in 2 years. And now we have input of 15,000 tons of PET waste each year. We have 40 employees. Here we have installation pictures of the plant. This is very modern, very optimized plant. Here we have a picture of a deposit system, here USAD, and there on the background GreenTech production building. And what about fibers? I will go through what quickly just to give you an understanding what is the usage of those products, which are very interesting. Here you have these are solid fibers where we can use in automotive industry, in any many spare parts production, because automotive industry now moves towards electricity. And what does it mean for the production of the cars? It means that you don't need so much heat protection, because there is no engine working from the gasoline, and it doesn't heat so much. The weight of the car is less. Of course, battery still has some weight, but construction on the car can be, let's say, need to be more light. So they use more plastics in this case, and these plastics are also produced from PET, recycled PET content. Then we have hollow fibers, where we use it in textile, in everywhere where we need some kind of bricks. And shallow fibers, they use it in different areas like medicines as well. Here are details about fibers portfolio. These are areas: automotive, hygiene, healthcare. Actually, without plastics and without PET as well, plastics will be not so easy to deal with pandemic we faced last year. And without plastics, I think that we wouldn't be in so good shape now at the moment, and wouldn't recover so quick from such pandemics. Then engineering and construction, home textile and filling, filtration, and other technical applications. I will now switch to the presentation, which is more dedicated to Lithuanian investments. investment in Vilnius, as I said, it was started from 2016, from the idea to come with a recycling facility next to the deposit system. The idea is to decrease CO2 footprint, that avoid waste tourism, we call it waste tourism, that PET bottles wouldn't be transferred to other countries. So where it collects, where it the original source of the waste should be very close to the recycling. This is the main idea. And that's how we started the concept of Vilnius Circular Economy Park. We have prehistory and facts. 2016 deposit started. And the first step that we will came here. Deposit system implemented in Lithuania is very successful case. They have a lot of visitors, and a lot of countries are just copying it. Then we have our factory set. In the next 3 years, we're going to invest another 12 million euros to cover this circular economy concept in the loop. So we would have in one, let's say, place, in one yard, waste, plastic waste collection, counting and sorting, waste recycling, and products production. Here we have RPET. We plan RPET production, so it will be bottle to bottle concept, and then from the rest, which cannot be used in bottle to bottle concept, we will use for PET strap production. And as a result, we will have very less traffic flows. So it also goes with a aligned with a circular economy concept. So we will reduce CO2 footprint. Here is the main plan. Here we have the blue building, number 4 is deposit system. Green building is our recycling facility, which is currently working. And those building light blue, these are dedicated for the final production. So it's gonna be one place like from the textbook. And then we will sell only final production out of this circular economy park. Yeah, that's it for now. I hope you enjoyed. If you have any questions, I can answer them.
Thank you, Vladas. That was really interesting to see how the opportunities are materialized, that we have such a nice case of green economy already in place, already working, and making benefits for society. So as the presenters invite for questions, and we have intentions for questions. So let's start a question and answer session. Let me first ask both Remigijus and Vladas, could you stay a little more than 10 o'clock? For how long we can run our session?
I have spare half an hour easily.
Okay, so maybe we go over 10 o'clock because presentations has been a bit longer. So I open the floor for questions. Dear colleagues, on the menu, on the Teams menu, we have a black bar, a hand symbol. Please raise the hand, and then that will make me easier to moderate the session. Please, who has questions? Okay, so here we have Ambassador Cosmin-Dinescu, please.
Yeah, thank you. I wanted to ask Vladas a question regarding the future investment plan. How many additional workplaces would be created by the implementation of this project? Thank you.
Well, now the industry moves in recycling. Also, industry moves towards Industry 4.0. that means that we will have quite automized lines. Anyway, we will create around 30-40 additional workplaces, but they mainly will be, let's say, high qualified personnel.
Thank you. And then, now Evelina would like to ask, please.
Hello there. I'm working for Lineca, the Logistics and Expeditors Association. I would like to ask a question. As a young person, which is looking forward to next generations to use planet Earth for their living, I would like to ask about what are the other options for the green energy, and because I just read a few articles which about the green hydrogen plants which are based in Dubai. Then I read some articles about Lithuanians building some factories which are burning our waste for to get green energy. Then Japanese, they have lots of other green like energy solutions. So basically, for example, for the how to say natural waste like food waste, they do not waste food. They just do the compostings. Myself, I lived in Japan for 1 year, and we use this kind of like machine. So we put all the waste and it makes like compost, and then you can go to the local markets and you can give it to local farmers, and they're gonna give you like 10% off your purchasing goods, which is great invention. And it encourages the, how to say, the people to participate in this kind of environment, to, you know, because your ideas are great. I'm really like supporting them, but we don't see the cure, like the core issue here. So yes, we're making plastics, and then you're providing us solutions about the how to, you know, to remake them. But I think, do you have any solutions how to stop this kind of like, or like change? Because as we know, Coca-Cola just signed the contract that they're gonna change their plastic bottles till 2030 to the more environmentally friendly packages. So all this information is amazing, but we just need to, you know, push it forward and push it much faster. So what is your solutions and how you see this kind of problem? Because people are setting limits or deadlines for 10, 20, 30 years. We don't have that. I think we need to be more strict to the deadlines rather than just like consuming like 20 years and stuff. So my question is like, what is your, as a green politics, you know, what are you going to do in next 5 or 10 years to push this really, I don't know, it's hard to talk about this.
Yeah.
So my question is, what is your solutions?
Okay, Evelina, I understand that this question is for me, and I'm ready to answer. First of all, I need to say that the greatest challenge or the biggest problem is the consumption of fossil fuel.
Yes.
So first of all, we need to stop consume fossil fuel, and all the technologies which can help to do so are welcome. But when you say about the production of hydrogen somewhere in United Arab Emirates, this makes me a little bit suspicious, because hydrogen made with the renewable electricity, it's okay. But I do not believe that United Arab Emirates at the moment, they have more than 100% of renewable electricity. Of course not. So the point is that they are doing, let's say, green hydrogen with the fossil electricity. This is not sustainable. This is not a solution. So my point is that we need to faster, let's say, wind power installations, solar power installations, sustainable bioenergy installations, but in a very sustainable way, because we need to understand that the natural limits, they also exist, or let's say limits exist also to natural products like forest and so on, and this is a great issue. And in Lithuania, let's say more or less we use forest in a sustainable way, but even in Lithuania we have some questions here to solve. So now next, of course you're absolutely right, we can do something with the biodegradable waste instead of just simply wasting, putting into the dump site. We can recycle, we can do composting to receive the natural fertilizers, and we can put them into the biogas installations, and we can have biogas and later on heat and electricity out of biogas, also transportation out of biogas. So all these solutions are okay. Technologies exist, we just need to be quicker, much faster. In Lithuania, for example, we need to separate the flow of biodegradable waste from other waste sources. We have everything is mixed now. And for example, Mr. Venskutonis, perhaps he can explain better when he receives PET bottles from the deposit points. So those PET bottles come nice, clean, relatively clean, let's say, possible for recycling. But if you take PET bottles from the flow with the waste, including biodegradable, you will have this all mixed, damaged, dirty, and so on. And then this is not a recyclable material at all. We need to treat, to wash, let's say, and so on. So therefore, we need some, let's say, some smart, also political decisions. I mean, we need changes in laws. For example, to, as I told, to separate biodegradable waste flow from all other waste sources, to increase better sorting at the place, to be faster with the renewable energy installations, and of course to work harder on the new technologies, especially in transportation sector, because seems to me that only electricity for small cars, this is not a solution. We need solution also for bigger transportation means like aviation, maritime transport, and long trucking. So that's the point.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now I see that Chris wants to ask a question. You send a message, please. Okay, muted. But I will read the question. The question is for Remigijus Lapinskas. What has been the effect of pandemic on some of the negative climate metrics that you referred to in your presentations? For example, CO2 emission, record temperature trends, and so on.
Yes, I know that, and that was a lot of people. They've been very happy because of pandemic, because CO2 emissions dropped down. But we need to understand that this is very temporarily. That was not a structurized decision. That was not a decision taken by, let's say, politicians, society, and business. So therefore, this is very temporarily, and I believe that we need, let's say, yeah, as I told, we need to take sustainable decisions, long-lasting decisions, aiming to tackle all these three issues which I described in my presentation.
Thank you. Colleagues, if your question has been answered, please put your hand down by clicking the same hand symbol on the menu. I see still, okay, I see still the hand of Evelina. Would you like to ask your second question?
I do apologize. I put it on. My
Okay.
bad. Sorry about that.
Thank you. While waiting for the next question, I would like to ask a bit more provocative question, and my question is to Remigijus. In these green matters, to drive our society to join the trend, we need examples, we need leadership. And that's why I'm looking to the officials, to the government, and let's say I'm discouraged by looking what, let's say, percentage of electric cars are used by ministries and SEIMas and political circles, and even more I was discouraged, let's say, to see the initiative of the military forces to install the new big training area. That means will touch and will require cutting some forests. So what is your thinking on the leadership and showing example from the top leaders?
Yes, this is absolutely right angle of our discussion. I think absolutely in the same way. That is why I have invested into windmill park. I am owner of windmill park and producing the green electricity. That's why I created in my history the largest biomass supply company in Lithuania. This record I also have. This is why I'm investing right now into a new startup which will be producing 3D printers, which will be using the recycled plastic, not the new one, but recycled plastic, and so on. So definitely we need leadership and good examples and success stories. Lithuania was the switch from gas to biomass in the district heating is the success story internationally. And even our president was very proud giving a speech at the Congress of United Nations and telling about his initiative of renewable heat worldwide. And I think this is a very important initiative because I told that the heating and cooling is more than half of the all energy worldwide. So heating is very important. But nevertheless, you also write that our ministries in this respect, they are, how to say, I wouldn't use the word lazy, but they underestimate the need to be green, to be sustainable. This will come, definitely. This will come perhaps even very quickly, because with that European turn towards green economy, this is a great input to all the states and all the politicians all over the Europe. So I hope that this really will change. But so far, I agree with you. We have a lack of such good stories and great examples.
Thank you.
From my side, add a little bit to Evelina question regarding from plastic side, that from January 1st this year, EU issued a directive, and which is already came into the power, that all plastic producers, plastic packaging producers, should pay a tax on top of the ton of production, 800 euros, which is really a huge tax comparing to the cost of the raw material. So it will probably increase the cost of the raw material about 2 times, and 2 times or maybe a little bit less now, but it will trigger those brand owners like Unilever, for example, Procter & Gamble, and already triggered Coca-Cola, Pepsi. I'm just talking about the biggest, but there are plenty others to issue the packaging which is more recyclable. We should not be afraid of the plastic. Plastic, as I said, it's one of the biggest inventions in the human history. I would put them in one line with electricity, wheel, and so on. Without plastic, we wouldn't be so advanced today. We wouldn't have computers, smartphones, medicine wouldn't be so advanced. If we would just click now and if we would have a magician stick and would make all the plastic disappear, will be a half naked furniture, everything would be disappeared, and so on. So we should not be afraid of the plastic. We need to move forward sustainable plastic production. And bottles are one of the more sustainable plastic now. It's the easiest way to collect, especially with the implementation with deposit systems across the world, and easiest plastic to recycle. The problem is other flexible packaging types. For example, multi-layer, like we have in meat. For example, meat. Yes, when you buy meat or sausages, it's packed in multi-layer with different plastics in one packaging. This is very hardly recyclable or not recyclable, and this pollutes the planet and so on. So what Europe made, and it's probably the most progressive legislation in the world at the moment, they issued this tax. We call it the 0.8 tax or regulation, and it triggered now the usage of recycled content a lot. I have another company, Exo. Exo recycles polyethylene, not PET plastic. Polyethylene is a different type of plastic, and we have see now a huge increase on demand of recycled polyethylene, and it mainly came because of this EU legislation. In Lithuania, I supposed to participate today in the environmental ministry workshop, where legislation is going also to be changed with the coming new government. They are quite progressive thinking, and our goal to make all the plastic recyclables in Lithuania. The burning of plastic is not sustainable solution. The burning should go with the waste which is not recyclable. I don't know, it's mixed waste, something like that. But plastics, and there are some already proved concept in Europe, like Belgium, for example, plastic can be recycled, of plastic. And with the new legislation, which is triggering brand owners to issue very easy recycling package, it will become more and more easier and more possible. So it's coming very rapidly now. It's really moving very fast, and the huge investments are being made in Europe, especially with this regulation. These big virgin plastic producers like Total, Borealis, Ineos, these Americans, they are not so active. They are a little bit on different level, but these who are in Europe very active, these are investing a huge money, hundreds of millions in the recycling facilities, new technologies, R&D, and so on. So if we take 10, 20 years perspective, it's gonna be a really complete picture.
Thank you. And now I see Ambassador Cosmodinescu would like to comment.
Hello, this time is me.
Yes.
And I have a question for Remigijus. It's actually a very sensible question at this point in time for Lithuania. But I would like to ask him if he considers nuclear energy as being green energy. Thank you.
With the nuclear energy, we have other type of concerns. Those concerns connected to the issue of how to say what that the word I forgot. I mean, this is not very safe energy issue. That's the main problem. We already had this major events in Chernobyl and Fukushima and 3 Mile Island and so on and so on. And that means that this technology which we are using for nuclear power, this is a technology of the blast which we somehow can control. But sometimes we are not able to control due to the nature power, due to the, like what was in Fukushima, tsunami, due to the human fault, like it was in Chernobyl, because of the terrorism could be, or even the war. Instead of a good thing, it can become a huge nuclear bomb, you know. So therefore, we do not consider nuclear power as the sustainable solution. But I need to say that if the technology changes, and instead of this blast technology, we'll have a synthesis technology, which going to come perhaps in next 20 or 30 years, then my opinion would change completely, because the safety is the only reason now to oppose to nuclear power. And if this synthesis technology will be able even use the radioactive material more deeper, leaving as the remainings less radioactive material, so then seems to me this could be one more good breakthrough for our future needs, I believe.
Thank you. Was it the last question already in the audience? I don't see any more hands. So let me conclude that we had an interesting discussion, and I liked questions the more in our discussion, because this live question, the real interest from our members, and the discussion on what's actual is the biggest, the most interesting part of our meeting. And by saying this, I will soon close the meeting, but we will meet again next month with the EBN members in our next event. Today, I cannot announce topic because it hasn't been decided. We will think soon about that, and we will inform by mails and on our internet portal. So please stay with us. I'm looking that next event will be still most likely online event, but we all are longing for the real life morning breakfast meetings that we can discuss and have a coffee together. Well, today we have coffee, but everybody has its own coffee, and it would be interesting to meet and discuss in the live. So I look forward to that. Thank you again, the presenters, Mr. Remigijus Lapinskas.
Thank you.
Mr. Vladas Venskutonis. We appreciate your input and your time that you shared with us. And thank you everybody for participation to our morning discussion.
Thank you. Goodbye and good luck. Be safe.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.